Cinema verite, or truthful cinema in its native French, describes a style of concept filmmaking whose approach is naturalistic or direct. Often through techniques in editing and camera work, the image which the audience views is from the point of view of a character, object, or even the camera itself. Often employed for its in-the-moment or observational aesthetic, cinema verite is sometimes referred to as fly-on-the-wall filmmaking. Often employing handheld cameras and minimal sound equipment, cinema verite strayed from the polished nature of productions to form a more grassroots and honest perspective for film. Serving as a reaction against popular methods in film, cinema verite's rebellious nature and low cost allowed for a rapid spread among younger and more independent filmmakers.
Cinema verite mainly captures candid realism. The footage must be unbiased to really reflect the realness of what is obtained. These special films are also known for taking provocative stances towards its topic. In doing so, more information and knowledge is gathered from the audience. Another important quality of cinema verite is having interaction with the filmmaker and the subjects. This is crucial in order to reveal the truth of the cinema and create a freeing perspective. The characteristics from British free documentaries in the late 20th century, the Italian neo-realist movement, and certain Russian filmmakers also influenced the concept of cinema verite. Despite the origins remaining unknown, cinema verite was developed in France and popularized in its use. It continued its rapid spread from France to the United States in the late 1950s and early 60s.
The verite tradition was then extended through popular Hollywood filmmaker John Cassavetes, whose 1968 drama Faces garnered American attention towards the cinema verite style. Cassavetes' up-close and personal use of the camera gave both a specter-like and personal perspective to the audience, forcing them to interact and look at the characters in a way that they never had before and on a grander scale. Since then, cinema verite has experienced a broadening of its uses across many venues of film and television production, including a more direct descending modern usage, a realistic perspective, closed-circuit television, as well as documentary and mockumentary filmmaking, and finally, what we will refer to as fourth wall methods. Modern usage of the cinema verite style is probably best told through the 1999 independent horror movie The Blair Witch Project. The film, under the guise of a high school video project and told via a handheld camcorder, follows a group of students as they investigate a superstitious town's local legend. The movie itself is presented as factual and the main characters in the story as being reported missing. The footage is described to the audience as recovered from the scene. These elements are all in an attempt to bring the audience into a fictional and staged environment. However, the information is being presented as real to suspend the audience's sense of disbelief typically ascribed to film. This method is commonly adapted in the horror genre to bring viewers deeper into the reality presented by the film. This allows thrillers to have a stronger hold over audiences by showcasing their films as more plausible or more deeply rooted in reality.
A growing trend of a more realistic camera perspective has become common within cinema verite. This approach is done by having the camera move with subjects or in the action of a scene. It is often displayed as your point of view. This is used to drag the audience in and make us feel included. An important example is through the television series Band of Brothers. The series depicts several battles and events that took place during World War II. The rawness of several emotions that happened during war were greatly obtained. Several scenes throughout the series are through the audience's point of view. This is done, for instance, in conversations and running scenes. The camera follows and makes certain movements that indicates the audience's point of view. Our eyes are through the eyes of the soldier. Another example is in the movie Cloverfield. Here, a group of friends are trying to escape through the streets of New York from an alien attack. The whole movie was shot through the various kinds of personal cameras operated by several characters. Even though it is rare to see the camera operator, our perception is that we are looking through the camera and capturing the footage ourselves.
Closed-circuit television, or CCTV, is the use of video surveillance cameras to transmit a signal to a specific place on a limited set of monitors. Reality TV is a very popular form of television that uses the closed-circuit method, presents unscripted situations, documents actual events, and features ordinary people. This genre, which has existed since the early years of television, exploded in the 90s and early 2000s with the success of shows like The Real World and Cops. Both use surveillance cameras in order to depict reality. CCTV is especially helpful in investigation series and movies. In the film Paranormal Activity, CCTV plays a crucial role leading up to the climax of the movie. Moments meant to scare the audience are what the characters wouldn't witness without the surveillance. The use of CCTV creates a more convincing representation in the same way security or surveillance cameras would be used in day-to-day life to capture and monitor reality.
Documentary is an original form of cinema verite. Although documentaries tend to be a broad category, reality is greatly portrayed. They are all fact-based films with actual people and events as the context. Examples coming from documentaries and concerts, for instance, Gimme Shelter, a 1970 documentary of the Rolling Stones tour. A particular focus was paid to the Altamont concert tragedy, which left a handful of people dead due to the hectic Hells Angels security during the concert. This incident was recorded on tape and captured the dark side of experiencing these concerts. Woodstock is a 1970 documentary of the coverage of the Monumental Music Festival that lasted for 3 days. It captured the thousands of people who came together for a common cause of peace and to hear music from the most talented artists to this day. From the concertgoers to the bands, many perspectives of experiences were captured. This was done to give the audience the full view of what took place both in the crowd and behind the scenes of the famous Woodstock.
Mockumentary is a type of film or television in which fictitious events are presented in documentary format. These productions are often used to analyze or comment on a current event and issues by using fake setting or to parody the document form itself. Emerging during the 1950s, an early example was a short piece on the Swiss spaghetti harvest that appeared on a British program as an April Fool's joke in 1957. The mockumentary was meant to depict special trees in Switzerland which grew spaghetti noodles, and because of the documentary format, people actually believed the video. The NBC sitcom The Office is one of the most common and successful examples of mockumentary in American television. It depicts the everyday lives of office employees at the fictional Dunder Mifflin Paper Company. To stimulate the look of an actual documentary, it is filmed with a single camera setup without a studio audience or a laugh track.
Another common offshoot of the cinema verite style is the use of the fourth wall concept, or the imaginary barrier created between the audience and the performers, descending from theater performances in which production sets were made to have 3 walls to show setting, with no physical wall between the performers and the audience. The term fourth wall, or more specifically, breaking the fourth wall, has evolved to refer to any interaction when the performers break character and speak to the audience directly. This practice has been adapted during every airing of Saturday Night Live during the conclusion of the show's cold open, in which the players break character to stop the scene and shout, "Live from New York, it's Saturday night." Or on the popular NBC sitcom Community, the character of Abed, whose TV obsession forces him to think of his life in television terms and therefore frequently references or addresses the show itself. The most culturally pervasive example of this, however, is the 1986 John Hughes film Ferris Bueller's Day Off, throughout which Matthew Broderick as Ferris repeatedly pauses the action to refer to his audience.
Cinema verite's core concept is its emphasis on real people and situation in an organic setting, in order to highlight the truth in storytelling and truth in presentation. Although its content is often staged or provocative, cinema verite gives a realistic picture for its viewers and for them to feel part of the story being told. Cinema verite is quickly evolving to become the mainstream form of film and television in our American culture.
Show's gonna last 3 weeks!
6 seasons and a movie!